Hello, welcome back. I'm glad you stopped by because I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the ego. I've been getting a lot of questions about this and always have because there's a ton of misconceptions about it. So we will dive in and find out exactly what it is, why we have them, why they are good for you, and also ways to transcend them in a way that we work together in a collaborative way. I know it sounds weird, right? Because everything says death to the ego, kill your ego, but that's not right. I went through this too. I completely went through this. In my own path, I thought the same exact thing that you all are probably thinking is that we're supposed to, the ego is evil and you got to get it, you got to kill it, you got to get it out of the way. So I tried. I tried all these different methods and I got to the point where it was always in the way. So I decided to put it into a box and shove it away in a dark room that I never have to look at again. And then I was just continuing on in my spiritual practices and thinking I did a great job. I killed the ego. Boy, it does not work like that. Not at all. At first, it can't be compartmentalized like that. So it just doesn't do that. But when you do something like that, it gets really, really, really upset. So let's take a look at what the ego is and why it gets so upset. Because the ego is actually our gift. See, we are a soul having a human experience. You've heard this all over there. So the thing is, you get to have many different experiences, different incarnations, yeah? And to do that and get the most out of them, it's better to have different filters. And what the ego is like these different lenses that you get to see the world and perceive the world so that you have a direct experience from that perspective. It's like someone can explain to you all about their job, but until you actually do it, you don't really get it. Or you can understand water by reading it, but you don't really get it. You gotta get in the darn thing, right? So it's the experience where you really gain the best wisdom, right? So to create ways for you to have more experiences, that's what the ego does. It gives us that filter that changes the way we are seeing things. That distortion is actually a gift. To a point. See, the ego's job is around survival. We come in as a baby, we need to eat, we need to have water, we need to have shelter, clothing, right? The bare necessities. So the ego's job is to make sure we survive. And it's a good thing it does, right? Because if we don't survive from the baby stage, we don't do anything. So we need these egos, right? We need some kind of programs that help to maintain our existence in it, right? So that's what the ego does. It's built around figuring out your environment, figuring out the behaviors, figuring out the people and how they act and the different kinds of people and how they act and how you may need to act around them to survive. So it's great to a point. And that's what I want to talk about. If you're watching this video, you're past the point of surviving. Although it may feel like you're still in survival mode, I get it, but you do know you can go get some food somewhere. And you can get some water if you need. You can get up, you can actually walk, right? So you have some different abilities than when you were just a baby or just a kid learning things, right? So congratulations on making it this far. And now you're probably at the next stage, right? Because you're realizing that there's this distortion, there's this discomfort, there's something that's misaligned, right? And that absolutely happens because the ego's perspective on existence is around survival. But your soul's perspective on existence is not on survival. It knows that it's infinite in nature and it knows that it has an expansive nature, but the ego doesn't. And that's the advantage, actually. You want the limited views, these illusions of separation, these illusions that create the different experiences. Because if you knew the end of the movie, it's not that fun, right? So as we go through the different stages or the different chapters of the book, then more things are revealed to you. This is beneficial in many, many, many different ways. As you go through each step, you learn the wisdom for that step. You also gain strength because you move through that step, or you gain resilience by resisting other temptations and things that pull you off the path, right? So each step is actually extremely advantageous, but we still need to move through each step. So at this point, the ego's done its job to get to this point, but it's going to keep wanting to do its job. And that's where the fight comes in. And that's where I was fighting with mine. And I'm like, all right, we're done with this fight. If you don't give me the reins, then I'm just going to put you in a box. And I just was straight up fighting this thing. Terrible, 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 terrible. Because I ended up having to do a lot of healing for it later. And it took a while because it had lost trust. And I don't blame him. I understood. The ego is a really cool, collaborative, complementary aspect to yourself. But it has a limit to the point of how much it should be running your life, right? It shouldn't be driving the car the whole time. In the beginning, it's fantastic. Later, time to shift over to a new driver, your soul. That's the big key. So the ego, you understand now, is a filter, it's a gift that gives you these different experiences for different perspectives. Wonderful. At some point, you want to be shifting from this survival mechanism into thriving, which your soul wants to do. So that takes some time, but that we'll get into on a different video. In fact, probably the best thing right now is actually to watch the next video on the observer mode, because then you can actually see your programs, you can see your ego, and you can well, kind of feel your soul. You'll be able to look outside your soul. So that actually is the next one to do after this one, and I will link that for you guys, okay? So go do that one, then you can actually experience it and see it yourself. Right over that, then we'll get you sustaining it. So that's it, guys. The ego is not a bad thing. It's not your enemy by any means. Learn to work with it so you don't end up having this angry, hurt thing like I did, and it will actually help you in a lot of ways. It will continue to help you, just in a different capacity, and this will bring a lot more peace to your life.